I'm going to take you through what is in the Survival Summit E&E kit, which comes in this cool little tin. So we're going to open it up and just dump everything out. What you can see, first off, is the Kevlar cordage, which is great. It's stronger, smaller, lighter than 550 paracord, which we all know and love. It's easily concealable. It's made up of 6 individual threads of Kevlar cordage that are all braided together, which means that you can use it as a whole, which gives a 200-pound tensile strength, or you can break it down into the individual threads and use it for sewing, fishing, but of course, using it just as is, you can create a loop on one end and a loop on the other end, and you can use it to escape bindings such as zip ties, duct tape, and so forth. So it's a nice little escape and evasion tool with many, many other uses. We've got 3 different handcuff tools that you can take with you, which are great. They're easily concealable. This little guy is great because inside of it is a super concealable handcuff key. What's great about this particular one is if you don't want to use the pill capsule to hide it, you can also put this on your shoelaces simply using some shrink wrap tubing, and it's very, very difficult for somebody to detect. This one comes with its own little clip, so you can clip it to the inside of your clothing, making it very difficult for people to identify. And of course, the more standard one, which is nice and comfortable, it's got a bigger grip on the backside. Lockpick and shim set. It gives you all the tools that you typically find with a lockpicking set. My personal favorites are, of course, that rake, as well as your tension wrench. The other ones you may find useful, depending on what you're doing. These are more single pin locks, so picking one pin at a time, as opposed to the rake, which is a very aggressive, just let's get this done as quick as possible. So this one's the easiest one to use, and it's the quickest one to learn from. For the shims, you have 3 shims. First one is the one for shimming handcuffs, which I'll show you in just a moment. You have a very thin and flexible one, which is designed for picking these master locks right here, the combo master locks. And then the thickest one, which looks exactly like the one you used for the combo lock. This one's designed more for picking cheap Chinese locks like this. So let's talk about the handcuffs. On these, you will notice teeth that help grip on the inside of the handcuff. And many of them also have a little pin right here that, when enabled, makes them a little more difficult to pick. It's like a secondary lock on the inside. Using any one of the handcuff keys, first thing you want to do to disable that pin lock here, that secondary lock, is you rotate to the left until it comes out, and then you rotate again to the right. So you start with a counterclockwise motion to disable a secondary lock, then a clockwise motion to release the lock. Now the shim, which is a great little tool, basically the first thing you want to do is insert it here on the back side, and you're going to want to place the shim back here. And what you do is push in till it stops. Don't push too hard. You push in a little bit on the handcuff like you're tightening it. There we go. And all it's doing, if you see these teeth, the locking teeth down here, all you're doing is getting this to go right over top of it, so the teeth on the wristband section can slide right over the top of the shim. I'm gonna do that one more time. Lock the handcuff in place. Doesn't matter how loose or tight it is, it's gonna have the same end result. Push this in as far as you can go, I'm not putting a lot of pressure on it. And then I'm going to apply more pressure here while depressing the lock a little bit. You may need to wiggle it a little bit. There we go. So now it's all the way in, meaning this is free to slide out. If you have a situation where you have that secondary lock, and we attempt to use the shim, notice how nothing is happening because that secondary lock prevents this from going to that next tooth to allow you to get that shim in between these teeth and the teeth in the base. So a shim is useless on this particular kind of lock. That's where your handcuff keys come into play. As for the lockpick tools, as I've mentioned in other videos, this is my favorite set right here. It's very, very easy to use. You have your tension wrench here, which acts as the torque when you're turning the key. Very, very super light pressure. Now let's see if I can do this in this position here. Very light pressure on my thumb, and basically just a rocking back and forth motion like a seesaw. I probably applied too much pressure on my thumb there, so we're going to reset that. Apply just a little bit of pressure. There we go. And as you can see, that is now unlocked. And then it didn't take any time at all. And I have practiced on this lock a lot. Locks that you do not practice on are going to be a little bit more challenging, and I highly recommend you get a tube of graphite powder. Now this little master lock right here, as you can see, it has two secure points where it locks in, but it has a single solitary point that activates both of those on the inside. So it's very easy to bypass using our little bypass tool, our easy decoder bypass tool. And what I do is from the text, I go 3 over, hit the inside, and what you're going to do is slide it in as far as you can go. And what you may have to do is press down a few times as you wiggle that guy in there. Actually, I have this guy upside down. So you want the angled part facing up towards the top of the lock where you're inserting. There we go. All right, so now I've got a good entry. My angle is off on a couple of those. So I'm going to keep sliding until this guy is wiggling up and down, until it's all the way in. I'm going to pull down this way while pressing in. And that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed this presentation on our E&E kit and what it contains. Again, we found through our research that combination of all these little guys right here make for a great layered E&E kit to have on your person.